I was doing it until it was over. So in that game, it's like, yo, I'm going to do this until I get killed or until I spend the rest of my life in prison because it beats any other option I have. People don't know options is a privilege. If you can wake up and make choices, that means you got a lot going for yourself. People don't understand that. There's a whole nother side of America that don't have a choice.
This is Andrew Vance, and you're listening to Choose the Hard Way, where I explore the obstacles people overcome to do great things with peak performers from sports, business, tech, the arts, the military, and many other disciplines. Please hit subscribe and take a moment to give this show a 5-star rating in Apple Podcasts. It helps the show rank higher in search so more people can find the powerful lessons my guests share. Thanks to everyone who's taken a moment to listen and to hit the stars. If you have feedback or want to recommend a guest, please email me at choosethehardway@gmail.com. You are what you overcome. Choose the hard way. Hector Guadalupe is a serial entrepreneur. He builds businesses at the intersection of wellness and social justice. Hector is the founder of Unibody Fitness NYC, a fitness and training company that uses wellness to achieve physical transformation, provide second chances, and bridge communities. Hector is also the founder of A Second You Foundation, a nonprofit that educates and trains formerly incarcerated people to help them start careers in the fitness industry as certified personal trainers. Hector spent 10 years in federal prison for drug trafficking charges, including 31 months in solitary confinement. While incarcerated, Hector got hooked on working out. He lost 120 pounds. He became certified as a personal trainer, and he got passionate about helping other people transform their minds, their bodies, and their lives through fitness and the fitness industry. What he's done since then is nothing short of incredible, and it's caught the attention of outlets including the New York Times and CNN. In this interview, Hector and I talk about leadership, mindfulness, entrepreneurship, opportunity, the importance of second chances, and much more. A Second You Foundation has trained over 200 formerly incarcerated people with a 0% reoffending rate, and Hector has even bigger plans for the future. He's just getting started. Also, a heads up that at the time of this recording, Hector had recently welcomed a newborn baby to the family. Congratulations, Hector. Towards the end of the episode, you'll hear some contributions in the background from the new arrival. To support the powerful work Hector and his team are doing, go to asecondyoufoundation.org, that's with the letter U, and find them on Instagram at A Second You Foundation. You can find Unibody at unibodyfitnessnyc.com or at unibodyfitness on Instagram, and you can find all of those links in the show notes. I was reading about how back when you were hustling on the streets, you're making $60,000 to $70,000 a month. What did it take to do that?
Well, it was a lot of money floating around back then, and New York was just a different place. The entire city was just fueled by illegal activity, from law enforcement to all the way down to a street level guy like myself, right? So I think what helped scale that operation was me growing up and being schooled by other people that were trying to survive, other men and teams that were trying to survive in my neighborhood. They were making like 80 grand a day when I was like 13, 14 years old. And I was like a lookout at the time as a kid. And at 13 years old, it's funny, my salary was $1,000 a week. And you don't even know what to do with that. You got to hide it from your parents, right? Like it was a weird, very weird situation. You got to hide it from your family and stuff like that. You know, clothes, like my family, you couldn't bring clothes that they didn't buy into their house because they'd be like, what the hell's going on here? So my whole life, even as a kid, was hiding. But I think growing up, I saw these men, you know, run strong operations. They had accountants, they had lookouts, they had, you know, strong ties with law enforcement and the community. They had, you know, they just had a well-structured operation, and it let me, and now as an adult, I'm like, damn, man, if someone would have took that person and just took them out of that environment and showed them another way, they'd be running a Fortune 500 company right now. So this is why, like, we force people to dream,
right?
Provide hope, because it's like, dude, or sister, you have it. You just need to be provided a window of opportunity. But yeah, that's what me watching them as a kid and being involved in that system at 13, 14 years old. By the time I was 16, dude, like people were already fronting me 300 grand worth of work, because, I just learned. I was very keen, very observant, and I learned fast. And I never had an issue with being on a team. I never had an issue of outworking you. Even as a kid, I looked at all these different workers. Even though we had the wrong product, I will outwork you hands down. You're going to need a twin to put in the amount of hours I can put in to compete with me, and I always had that as a kid. So, yeah, man, just learned fast. And by the time I was 16 is when I kind of branched out on my own.
So when you were 13 and you were pulling in $1,000 a week, it's $1,000 cash probably, right?
Yeah, it's cash. It was in rubber bands. And I had to hide things everywhere. And my hide from my family what was going on. Back then too, I just started smoking weed, and I would take my friends, 10 friends. Most kids, they'll go to the candy store. Me, we'd go to the weed spot, and I'd probably so many bags of joints, dude. It was hilarious. And the people back then in New York, weed spots was like the movie rental spot. The bodega where you move a bag of chips to the side and there's a hole in the wall and you put the money in and you get a bag of weed. Like, it was just like a very different city. And and I would take my friends shopping and buy them sneakers and because I was just a kid, I was just a kid. At the end of the day, I was just a kid. So I don't know what to buy. The only thing I did know is at a young age, I knew being poor was a problem. That's one thing I realized.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I knew that. I saw how my family struggled. My parents were gone, dead at the time. And it's like, my grandparents had to work 24/7. So there was a lot of times where I was unsupervised. Right. And that's why I was a little rebellious, and maybe also for not having parents, you get a little rebellious, get a chip on your shoulder. You see a lot of crazy shit going on outside your door. Cops are doing crazy things. People in the street are doing crazy things. So it's normal to you to be in the mix of that jungle in that space. And at the end of the day, I was just a kid, but like, damn, when I look back, it's like, yo, there's some kid out there right now trying to figure out how to survive.
Right.
Right. Like, you don't know what to do with the money, but like, I got to find a way not to be hungry. I got to find a way to make sure, because I see what other people are doing. I need clothes too, like that. I need a car. You don't know, you can't process it all, but you are moving off of instinct, I think, right?
When you're 13 years old, there's just so much going on emotionally and developmentally for kids. What was your interior experience?
They say sometimes you got to be a lion just to be the lamb that you really want to be. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, you really want peace, but the way life is so chaotic that you got to be a lion, though. You got to be a beast in order to hope that you survive that shit. So internally, I was probably like really sad, losing my parents to cancer and seeing them go through their struggles early on because, my pops was a Marine, and that was back in the Heron days, and it was just crazy. And, he struggled with shit, substance abuse. My mom also, even though they got over it and got sober, but I saw years of their struggles, I saw a lot of shit, and that, being that you love your people, even now, the men and women I love and the people in our community, you harbor their pain, their experiences. And I think I was someone at an early age who would take on too much emotionally and mentally, and I would internalize it, and it would fuel what later became to be like what my career was, which was trafficking. Um, so I kept in a lot of pain, and that's what the pain is what helped me survive.
Part of what I heard you describing is there was a business structure, it was highly organized, and it sounds like there was strong leadership and mentorship. Very
strong leadership and mentorship. That's why today I'm able to get people excited, get people together, manage teams, get people pumped, to go out on a mission, because that's what it was. That's how they operated. They were great speakers. They were great influencers. Before I tell people all the time, we had all the likes and love before social media. Because they had that energy. They just had the wrong product.
You talked about the work that you're doing now and how part of what you do is you help people to dream and to think bigger and to set different kinds of goals. At that time, what was your notion of what it meant to be successful?
Dude, back then, I didn't think I was going to make it out. I was doing it until it was over. So in that game, it's like, yo, I'm going to do this until I get killed or until I spend the rest of my life in prison, because it beats any other option I have. People don't know options is a privilege. If you can wake up and make choices, that means you got a lot going for yourself. People don't understand that. There's a whole nother side of America that don't have a choice because of lack of education, because of lack of resources, because of lack of community. So I didn't, I was living day by day. I didn't have a end goal. You make a sale here, you get about 17 grand here, 20, go pick up 25 grand here, go drop off this, go drop off that. And you're just moving through space. You're just moving day by day, trying to take care of people you love, trying to take care of yourself. Might have some investments, might grab some property, but you don't know if you're going to be alive. I'm 43 now. I never thought I'd be 43. Didn't think I'd be 30. So I didn't have that end game vision. At that time, I didn't.
When did that change for you?
I wanted to live once I came home from prison and saw how beautiful it was to be free and be in the fitness industry and be successful in it and inspiring people and bridging communities, like people from one end to the other and putting them together and making magic happen, man. And that shit, man, I said, oh, I want to live forever now, and it was after me doing my time and coming home and seeing how good it felt to just take a walk and be around positive people and, from all over the world. I came home to Manhattan, so it was just like mind blowing to be back in New York, but a different reality now, right? A different city, totally different city. So, it wasn't until I was in my 30s, dude. Before that, it was just it was chaos.
What about when you were in prison? What got you through that?
What got me through it is I was able to stop, you and everybody else. When the pandemic first hit, everybody had to sit. You for the first time in your life, the whole world got a chance to sit down with themselves. Everybody got a chance to reflect, refine themselves, figure out what their new reality is going to be during that time. That's how it is in prison. You find out what your new passions are, what do you love, what do you care about. You started to appreciate your family and your coworkers more. Your whole vibe changed because you had a time out. So while I was in there, that's what I did. I worked on myself. I figured out, had a time to learn who I was as a person. And that's the shit that gets you through, because you're able to put more into you. The more you put here, the more you're able to change, the more you're able to be a better version of yourself, and the more you're able to give to the world, as long as you're putting in good, healthy information in your head. And I read all day long, studied the industry, worked out and found this new passion. I mean, I lost like 100 pounds in there, and I was like reborn again. You know what I'm saying? And I used that what enlightened me. I started using that skill with men in there, and I saw what getting them healthy and inspiring them with positivity did for them. It was changing people. And I was like, oh shit, I got to go home and do this. I found a career. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Had you worked out at all before you were in prison? Had it been part of your life at all?
Sports only. You only played ball, played football, all year round in New York. We played out in the street, in the parks, in school, but that was the only activity, physical activity.
Do you remember what your first workout was like?
Oh, man, yeah, I got crushed. My first workout was with a 50-something-year-old dude that was my cellmate named Tommy Dortch from D.C. And he said, I'm going to take you in the gym, and today's first day is legs. And oh, my God, I almost puked. And our gym was like Gladiator. If you think of prison, if you think of what the gym setting is, shit is like a movie. It was Rust, 1980s Arnold Schwarzenegger vibe. So we went in there and they destroyed me, literally destroyed me.
Do you remember the workout?
Yeah. It was, well, he started with fundamentals, right? Just teaching me how to do a proper squat, proper form. And he probably trained me for like 90 days. He trained me for like 90 days. And after that, I just got obsessed. I was obsessed. We were in old army barracks that they turned into a federal prison. So it was like really raw. You really felt like, all right, they just gave me a 10 to life sentence. I got to figure out. I don't have no doctors here to keep me healthy. I got to figure this shit out. I got to get healthy. I got to get obsessed. And I got to just do a complete 180, when it comes to my health. So, yeah.
You've done a lot of media during the past year, and one of the things I've heard you talk about is how while you were in prison, you were working out, but you also got into yoga and meditation, which I'm really curious, how do you think about that relationship between the mind and the body and physical wellness and mental wellness?
It's the best. You need it. You're not complete without it. There's no programming that's complete without some level of mindfulness and yoga or static and dynamic stretches. Flexibility is huge as we age. And not only as you age, just period for programming. Yes, resistance is important, but also cardiovascular flexibility and mind health, right? Mental health, period. And that is, and nutrition. And that's your full package, man. I believe in it. And I remember when I was in prison, I just kept getting bigger and bigger and jacked. And I was like, wait a minute. Feeling achy, feeling this, feeling that. And I signed up for these yoga classes. I said, let me go try this out. And one of the guys that was in there serving time with us was the teacher. And he had over 1,000 hours worth of, certifications, and really, really intelligent guy named Joseph. And I loved his classes, and he helped me a lot. And when I came home, I ended up getting certified because it was so cool. I wouldn't teach it, but for my own practices, I love it. I believe in it. And it also helped me reduce a lot of stress while I was in. Helped me reduce tons of anxiety, dude. So that, and a lot of us also, when you're in solitary confinement, meditation, stretching out, yoga, XYZ helps you get through that tough time.
How did you end up in solitary confinement?
I was always under investigation in there because every prison I was in, I never wanted to feel. I didn't want to feel like I wasn't normal. I knew what they were. I knew what prison is designed to do. So I went against that in every way. Which, you might see me on a compound and I might have like some really nice Prada shoes on, and you're saying to yourself, "Where the fuck did he get those?" And so they knew, like, I every location I've been in, I had correction officers on staff that ended up aligning with me and my team, and eventually start bringing shit in. Well, you name it. I mean, people in there have it all, the brand new iPhone to the whatever. And of course it's illegal. And there's also times when we were making a lot of money. So you keep going back, they try to keep sending you to solitary confinement for a lot of different reasons, because the end goal is to dismantle you mentally, emotionally. So anybody that's in there that's strong-willed or is trying to still live life, even while confined, like, you are a threat, and you'll go. I spent like almost 3 years in solitary confinement for just a variety of reasons, though. But just trying to live, really. I want to drink Starbucks. I want to drink whatever. I want to do this. I want to do that. I don't care if I'm doing 10 years of life. I'm still going to try my hand at living.
And while you were inside, I know that you thought about a variety of different things you might get into on the other side of prison, including a transportation service and a t-shirt business. I mean, obviously you're a very entrepreneurial person, but like, how did you start shifting your energy in that direction?
Drew, I was desperate to have an out. I was desperate to not sell no dope no more, brother. I was desperate to not be in prison ever again. So so I was forced to start thinking, and I never did start the transportation or t-shirt line, but I would still do the t-shirt line. The t-shirt line is a hit. We'll talk about that off air one day.
Okay. All right. I love it.
But I was just forced to, because I know I didn't want to go back to that other life, So, yeah, man, that my experiences in the past, the shit I saw, like, even today, man, I think about it, all the shit we survived that we didn't, like, the things I was into. Like, me and a friend of mine at 17 were security for a Colombian fucking drug lord. Like, when I think about it, I'm like, what was I doing? Like, weird stuff, man, that you are lucky to still be alive from, right? Like, in Miami, guns everywhere, bulletproof vests with a 65-year-old. Everywhere you go, payroll is strong. You're sitting in his house having espresso. His bed has over $1 million on it in cash. Weird movie stuff. And you're like, so when you sit back and you reflect on all the stages, and I was only home in the streets for 11 years, but so much happened in those 11 years, you're very lucky to still be here. So when you think about that shit, you're like, man, I'm going to draw all the business plans I can so I could never have to experience this again, man. This shit was real stuff back then. People were dying every day around you, in front of you. You hear about it. This person gets 4 life sentences for fucking just drugs, not for killing nobody. 6 life sentences. I got a friend that got it. It's like, how? How do you give somebody 6 life sentences for fucking trying to make money? It's crazy. But, it's the shit I grew up in. This is the system we grew up in. It's layered. It's so layered. But, yeah, that's why I'm like, man, I got to think of something, and I was like always dreaming in there. I always had hope. I always knew that I was going to be fine. I could sell anything. You know what I mean? As long as it's a good product, I can sell it. It sells itself, really. But, yeah, I didn't worry. I just said, I got to work. I got to get to work. I got to write shit down. I got to think of shit. I got to bounce shit off the walls to people. You got to let people blow holes through your ideas and help refine and refine and refine, right? And that's what I did. I was never scared to work. So once in there, I started really applying a lot of the information from a lot of the books I was reading and shit, and just trying to figure out almost, what my next stage in life would look like.
Yeah, something that you just brought up, I think is really important, and I think it's something that people sometimes neglect. They open their aperture, they're starting to dream, they're thinking about big goals. They're like, hey, I want to get to this thing. And of course, it's great to have something like that. Once you have a North Star, gravity starts pulling you in that direction. If you take take the next step, take the next step. But as you mentioned, you want people to blow holes in those ideas too. You really got to kick things around to get to that very best idea. I saw you post something on LinkedIn recently about how you're getting back into writing and journaling, and that it's something that you used to do a lot. Is that what you find to be your most fruitful format for kind of like getting your ideas down, dreaming, and then like how do you like to workshop your ideas with other people to really start sharpening the blade?
Journaling and writing is that's another way I got through solitary confinement. That's another way I got through a lot of my time. And it's a habit that I am reconnecting with. It's an old passion, not habit, an old passion that I'm reconnecting with now. So I have a whole book of just events, ideas, and details of events. Future events I want to throw, future business ideas, educational ideas, all these things I want to pursue. I have a whole book. I just, whenever I'm able to, I just start writing and documenting these ideas. Then I also believe in just creating a strong network. So, obviously the wellness industry is my tool and my access to every career professional from all over the world, right? So there's only two places that all contacts meet at the same time: bars and gyms. You can find anybody from all over the world, any industry, in a really good bar or a really good health club. So anyway, the gyms was my access point, right? And I just kept in contact with just as many smart people as I could. And whenever I have a question, I just email somebody from my network and I ask questions and we get on a Zoom and I just look for people that are not going to be the yes men. I want you to ask me the tough questions. I want you to, occasionally shoot me down and, and like I said, blow holes through these plans, so I just can keep refining and bringing it to fruition. But I think a lot of people want to like now, remember there was a time a decade or two ago where people was just selling ideas. They were raising money on ideas with no proof of concept, and it's like, yo, get out of here. That doesn't exist no more. Stop trying to get away from doing the grit, the grind work. Go do your homework. Go get stressed out. Go, I didn't start a Second U Foundation after raising money. I started the foundation when we was broke, had no money for an office, and had to come out your own pocket and see what it feels like to put your own dollars on the line and risk your own money and invest your own time physically, rather than already selling my idea to an investor or a potential donor or sponsor. Nah, you're only going to get better if you put in those man hours, right? You put in that grit work, the dirtiest, because that's the only way you'll become strong at what you're either creating or doing. So, I love it, man. A lot of my ideas take a long time before they're born, and that's fine. It's like, what else do I have to do? There's nothing else to do.
How is where it is now different from where it started? I want to talk about the why also. Why did this become the thing? Because like you said, you could sell anything. You could go into a lot of different areas, but this is the area that you were like, this is what I've got to do.
because once I was employed, I was working in Union Square on 14th between 5th and 6th Ave. High volume, high traffic, amazing area in Manhattan. Working at the corporate health club, and I never forgot my first 8 months home not having a job. I know that feeling. It fucking sucks. And after my first year working, I spotted a brother that was on the train that did time with me. His name is Pedro Santos. And he looks, to this day, just amazing. Handsome, well-spoken, good heart, great person. And I said, yo, here's my number. Call me. I'm working downtown. Ended up getting him down there. And I said to myself, I'm going to figure out how to help this dude. You know, taking him to get his first Lululemon outfit, right? Like all these like things to like get you to understand, like, yo, you deserve this. Like you're a human being. You deserve to have someone take you in and give you an opportunity. And that's what I did. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I was like, yo, I got to keep doing this shit over and over again. And then me just bumping into him and using him as my first project, I was like, okay, now I'm going to the halfway houses. Now I'm going to the parole centers where people are coming home at and holding workshops there. Now I want to talk and sell 50 of y'all on this, you know. And that was like my second year home. That started my second year home. And I brought in like, and I'm like no different from nobody out here that been through some shit. Like put it like this, nobody's different than nobody. Everybody's equal out here, but everybody thinks they're better than somebody. Everybody thinks they got, you know, they got some supernatural powers. But really, you ain't shit. We're all just one person trying to make it out here and trying to do our best. So, you know, I saw that. I'm like, okay, my second year, I brought in like 140 grand. I'm like, damn, off of training? I'm like, that's cool. That's pretty cool for my second year home. Guess what? Since I'm not that special, I'm just a hard worker. I'm just doing my normal stuff, right? I'm just passionate about what I do. But like, plenty of people can do this. And now we have over 200 graduates that are doing this. And now they have, right, livable wages and careers that they've built, where now you can feed your family. Now you can put your kids through school. Now you can do this. Now you can do it. And this trickle effect is like insane. It's just insane. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's how it started, man. It just started from just like, yo, just trying to put somebody on. That's it.
Let's go back to those first 8 months, though, when things really sucked. Like, let's dig in on, like, what was going on? What were you trying to do? Why were you getting stuffed?
I thought it was going to be easy when I came home because I was like, yo, I'm a pretty decent looking guy. You know what I mean? I know how to speak. I know how to get you to understand that I deserve an opportunity. I feel like I'm a pretty good interviewer. I was young at the time. I had all the certifications. Boy, was I wrong. Corporate America was not trying to deal with people like me, which I'm who you are. I'm your neighbor, I'm your son, I'm your coworker. So it was like really stressful to not have someone want to give me a job. Like that shit was weird because I'm like, damn, like 10% of everybody in New York that's in the C-suite, they've been in Alcoholic Anonymous classes, programs. They've been in Narcotic Anonymous programs. They've had second, third, fourth, five chances, but still can wake up every day and close the door on somebody. That's weird. So I was like trying to process that when I first came home, and I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like I know this city. This is my city. Why can't I get a job in my city? At a health club, at a gym. It didn't make sense. So now I had to create what we have now to make it make sense. You know what I mean? You shutting me out. Anytime you see a problem, you know there's a business, right? So, you know, it is what it is. But that's something we're still working with foundations and corporations that stand behind certain policy changes to help back us and change the game at corporate health clubs when it comes to hiring formerly incarcerated people.
Yeah, talk to me more about that. Have you seen that change during the time that you've been doing the Second U Foundation?
A little bit. If you look on our website, a lot of companies partner with us. Everybody except a gym or a corporate health club. I wonder why. That's a question to ask people from the fitness industry. If this is the fitness industry, the wellness industry, this is supposed to be an industry that uplifts, promotes health, promotes community. Why aren't they doing that? Why does no corporate health club or boutique have a social cause then? It's very weird when I think about it, when I really zone in on it. A fashion brand doesn't have to have a social cause, but they love us. They're on our board. Is this, I can name Microsoft doesn't have to help us, but they do. They're a tech company, right? Like, why not the wellness industry? I don't get it. We're a specific, very niche nonprofit organization that's community driven and wellness focused. So that's a question that they would have to probably answer. Yeah. One day I'm sure they will. Someone will step up one day, right? We hope so.
And since you started a Second U Foundation, you've had almost 200 people go through the program, right?
Over 200.
Over 200 now. Okay. And what does the program look like? Like, what does somebody experience from day one? How are they finding you? What's the training they go through? And then what's happening at the end?
Second U is a 10-week training program. We have a team of recruiters that have a outreach program that connects with all .orgs that focus on reentry in New York City. We have relationships with federal and state law enforcement agencies, so we get tons of referrals through that. We used to hold workshops pre-COVID in person at institutions. That we are waiting, obviously, till things get back to normal to be back in person with that. After filling out a registration form, phone interview, and 2 Zoom interviews, whoever's chosen will, I host a orientation in person in the city where we take them out to a great dinner, and there's giveaways and testimonials that they hear, and they're like really brought into a family setting. You're treated like family. You're not treated like you're in an organization or in a program or in a school. You're treated like this is like you feel like you have some ownership over what you're getting into, which is important. When class starts, our program is 7 days a week for 10 weeks. It's super intense. And a lot, and it's not for everyone. Let's say that, we're not here taking in thousands of people. This is for those that really want to be leaders in their own space, leaders in the wellness industry, leaders in their community. So it's a tough program to get through. It's a competitive program. Once in, each participant receives, obviously, their NFPT curriculum. They get packages and education through Precision Nutrition, which is our top, nutrition brand in the country. Each person gets $1,300 cash stipends, free Metro cards, clothing, tablets, software training through Microsoft, interview clothes from Faraday brand, mental, mindfulness training through Lululemon. Like, they got it's love here. It's love here. They get a lot of love and support, so they're able to focus on their studies Monday through Sunday. though there's also responsibilities that they have to uphold on their end. So, you know, between week 1 and week 2, you got to open up a bank account. You know, everybody that comes to a Second U Foundation, they have to become registered voters. You know, you have to learn how to write a bio about yourself and your story because there's power in that, you know. Learning how to fill out the job applications. And, you know, we're there to support, but we don't want to baby you too much. We want you to feel ownership over your actions and your future. So, we go on field trips, you know. So it's probably as a .org, it's probably one of the strongest community feels there is out there. You know, you don't feel like you're going through a process. You don't feel like you're like on the line as a number. You know, so it's a good feel. And at the end of the 10 weeks, you take your national profit exam for your certification. And that same week, you'll do your CPR and software training, which is all paid for and free. And you're on to your interviews and job placement. And it's cool because, you know, you get provided actions and shit that's just normal, man. You need to know that this is normal. You know, ain't nobody helping you. You're doing what you have to do as an adult. And you're chasing your dreams, you know? So, yes. And then after that, it's like they just have access to us and our resources moving forward, right? Someone, you know, we've had graduates that now are multimillionaires that run their own real estate firms. It's like crazy. It's like, love to see them surpass us. Like, that's the magic, you know what I mean? So it's taking people that have those transferable skills from one life to another, and then just opening that door for them to move forward in life, man.
How have you grown during the time that you've been leading this program? What have you learned, and how have you changed?
That's oh man, that's a loaded answer. But I'll say that every year I just fall more in love with people. Every year I fall more and more in love because, you know, after all the shit I've been through, I came home with like I probably had a little chip on my shoulder, a little aggressive, because you're just dealing with a lot. But, you know, the more you see people become successful that are in our circle and lives change, in my head, I'm always thinking like, so many families and kids are benefiting from this. Like, the domino effect is so wide that internally it makes me more and more at peace every year that I get older. And it's something I want to see continue to grow. And now I'm seeing like our kids, and you know, I've been home almost a decade now. Me and my team, all our kids are getting older, and like we want them, you know, to hopefully one day take over and keep a Second U as a family driven community for many, many decades and generations to come, man. So like my thought process, what I'm seeing, what I've experienced since the beginning of it, it just like keeps me at peace more and more every year, man. Very grateful.
You know, truly transforming and providing the opportunity transformation, like that's an incredible gift to give. How has doing this work changed, or maybe it hasn't changed, the way you think about what's possible for you, other things you might want to do in your life?
Oh yeah, it's just instilled in me a lot of confidence now. Now I'm less like, you know, when it comes to business, you know, like me and my people, we want to make money. And we're very honest about that, you know. Yeah, we love giving back, but like I try to tell a lot of people, don't get trapped in that, the system. I love to tell, especially people of color, oh no, keep doing the nonprofit thing. Yeah, nah. You'll do that, and after it's up and running, find a way to make money. I want all my guys to be wealthy and women to be set up and fucking filthy rich. I believe in being successful financially too now. Don't get it twisted. And we want to build now we want to build this ecosystem of for-profit entities that all have a social cause. Now we're like seeing the vision, Yeah, we want the juice bars. We want the real estate. We want, the media companies to make money, do well. And what we're going to do is we're going to also attach our social cause to them. We're only going to hire formerly incarcerated men and women. We're only going to train up formerly incarcerated men and women in every single industry that we touch. That's to build out this really cool ecosystem of what was birthed out of a Second Youth Foundation. So, yeah, I got a lot of confidence nowadays to just keep learning, and keep pursuing my dreams. Got a lot of work to do.
Part of what people have to do, and part of what I'm sure you're having to do right now, is you have to acquire new and different skills than the ones that got you to where you are today. I want to pursue big goals in life. That's going to require taking big risks. It's going to require continuing to educate myself, having mentors, finding the right people. How are you bridging that gap?
That's exactly what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
I feel we got a couple projects going on, but I feel there's moments of insecurity, 100%, because there's a lack of education. No matter what I've learned over the past decade, home and being around great people, there's still a lack of education when it comes to different industries. So it's like recalibrating yourself, relearning, unlearning a lot of old shit, recycling information, and rebuilding yourself as a brand again. That shit is challenging, but it's a great challenge because what else is there to do? You might as well take a shot. And I think I also wake up hungry to challenge myself because once you go through the grind, everything else is easy. Like I don't feel that scared to try anything when it's legal work, because you never fail when it's legal work, because you wake up tomorrow, you try again. You wake up tomorrow, you try again. So you never really fail. Every day you can take a shot. You know what I mean? So when you have that type of mind frame or that type of experience in life, you never really fail. You never fail. You just keep shooting. You keep shooting until something hits. And that is what I think of during those insecure moments. I'm like, all right, calm down. Call this person, call that person, keep getting information. Keep getting information. Most valuable asset that you'll ever have is getting information from those that have done it. I'm also been in a couple accelerator programs, which open you up to obviously the huge networks where you can just tap into whenever you really need someone to help guide this process. So that's I believe in networking 24/7. And that's my form of education. It beats an Ivy League debt. That's what I do to get through it. And like I said earlier, having people blow holes through things has been extremely helpful when it comes to refining these plans that we're trying to put together.
You've really had a big burst of media coverage. Has that media attention changed anything at all?
Yeah, it's helped educate people. Media has helped normalize our community and other communities. So it's helped with a lot of awareness. It's helped change a lot of minds and hearts of a lot of different corporations, surprisingly, that we're in talks with and supported by, and it's also provided my community with a lot of hope. Back when we first started, I would have to actually sell someone on letting me help guide them into a career. That's crazy. But that's how bad the system has beaten so many people down that it's hard to believe in yourself. It's hard to believe that there's anything better out there, and especially when I started, when we didn't have no office, where we held class?
Where?
At a restaurant. It was called Vapiano's. It was in Union Square on 13th Street and University Place. And we would go in there. We would take up an entire area. I'd buy everybody food, lunch, and we'd crack open textbooks. And because I knew if you buy something, they can't kick you out. We'd study for 3 hours. We'd hold class in the restaurant because we didn't have money for an office, and it was just like, hey, we're just gonna make it work. But my whole first year, we ran the second U out of a section of a restaurant. That's weird, but it was funny. But it's hard to get. Back then, it was hard to sell these men and women on he got me sitting in a corner of a restaurant trying to coach me about anatomy and how many bones is in the body and blah, 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 right? And nowadays, because of media, it's an easier sell, Well, people could reference us or Google us and they see that this works. And they also see oh, shit, Heck and all their staff did a lot of time. They're people that come from the same situation and circumstances like myself. Of course, I can do it. So I think media has helped the great producers and journalists that we've been blessed enough to now have as friends. They share that mission. When you create that story, when Andrew puts out that podcast episode and if it does nothing, if it at least inspires one person from one side of America and also inspires someone that comes from challenging circumstances, then we did our job. You know what I'm saying? So media is important, man. That's why we started our media company. So being creative to inspire and educate is the power of media and its outlets.
What's next for you? Where are you headed? What are some of those big goals?
Well, we started Second Chances Media, pitching docu-series to networks now on the lives and of graduates and coaches and at a Second U Foundation. So we're in talks with a lot of networks now, production companies. We also have the Second Chances Matter podcast that's launching this fall during giving season. The launch is at a Second U's annual benefit, which is the last Saturday of October at Lululemon, Flatiron location. And we are planning to open up fourth quarter this year, early first quarter of 2022, the Box Cafe in NYC, which will be a juice bar that's owned and operated by formerly incarcerated people in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. So we got some cool projects going on that we're excited about. But yeah, that's what's on the docket at the moment.
Nice. And Hector, thanks again for spending time with me today. Really enjoyed our conversation. And if folks want to find out more about you, about the work you're doing, where should they go? asecondufoundation.org is the website. We are also, same name, is on IG, Instagram, Facebook,
LinkedIn, and Twitter.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me, Andrew.
If you have questions, comments, feedback, or want to suggest a guest, please reach out to @HardwayPod on social or email me at choosethehardway@gmail.com. I've had times in my life when I've been in hot pursuit of my dreams and gave up when I hit obstacles I didn't think I could overcome. After more than 2 decades working with the world's top performers, I've learned that to be the best in the world or just find your own personal best, you have to choose the hard way. There aren't shortcuts or hacks that will get you there. And you're going to fail over and over and over along the way. Through Choose the Hard Way, I hope to empower more people to reach beyond who they think they are and just keep going, no matter what they encounter in life, so that they can reach their goals and dreams. You can help me make it happen. When you take a moment to subscribe to Choose the Hard Way, leave a review and rate the show on iTunes or wherever you listen. It only takes 30 seconds. I truly appreciate it, and so will the people who you help to find the show. You can also sign up for the Choose the Hard Way newsletter to get more information about episodes, guests, and other awesome things when you go to choosethehardway.com/newsletter. You are what you overcome. Choose the hard way.